is lowered and the new flag of Jamaica raised.
It was a morning like this in 1962, maybe not this quiet, when Jamaicans woke up to an independent nation. It meant that we were no longer under the British rule. Jamaica now had responsibility for its own affairs. And this very place, the National Stadium, was where that symbolic ceremony took place. There was so much jubilation to see our own flag blowing in the wind and hearing our own national anthem. It's been 53 years, and today we celebrate our independence under the theme, Proud and Free, Jamaica 53. There is so much to be thankful for and so much to get right, which Governor General Sir Patrick Allen shares on the other side of this message. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome.
Gather together, be brothers and sisters, we're independent. Join hands to hands, children started to dance, we're independent.
When a motorcyclist or pedal cyclist is involved in a crash, he or she is likely to face serious head injuries. With a helmet on, those could be less severe. Always wear a securely fastened helmet and ensure pillion passengers wear them too. Never reuse a helmet once it has taken a hit. Avoid drinking alcohol and other distractions. Do not bob and weave through traffic or ride facing the oncoming traffic. And remember to follow all established rules of the road. Avoid the legal and physical penalties. On the road, safety comes first. Obey the rules and save lives.
Once again, whether we are at home or in various regions across the world, we unite to commemorate the first hoisting of our proud black, green, and gold. For those of us who witnessed that moment, that surge of patriotic pride and joy is forever etched in our hearts. Today, as we celebrate our 53rd anniversary, we recapture that spirit so aptly reflected in our theme, Proud and Free, Jamaica 53. We celebrate our people, the strides we have made nationally and internationally, the vision for our growth and our well-being, as well as the challenge which must impel us to forge sustainable solutions. We cherish our brand as a people who are creative and resilient. Once we are united in our struggles and objectives, our dreams and aspirations, with divine guidance, there is no difficulty which we cannot overcome. Each of us, however, has a duty to build the bright and prosperous Jamaica of which we dream. And so I encourage you today to urgently join forces against the crime and violence which stalk our land. Believe that we shall prevail, and let us end the culture of silence and help bring perpetrators to justice. Embrace positive values which will strengthen our nation and our families, and our communities in particular. Let us redouble our efforts to transform the lives of our people and so end the downward drift of our youth to gangs, drugs, and guns. We must curtail the corruption which undermines our development and threatens social stability. We must end the spate of murder and violent abuse of our children. Let us believe together that we can make them safe and secure in our homes, streets, and communities where they, the nation's future, will flourish. Every member of every community must assume this responsibility right now. We must use our roads wisely and prevent the carnage from continuing. Let us not take the beauty of our island for granted. Our pristine beaches, unique topography, exotic flora and fauna, and the very origin of the name Jamaica are at risk. We have a responsibility to protect our environment. In this, we are encouraged by another global recognition, the declaration of our Blue and John Crow Mountains as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is a treasure, among others, which we must preserve for future generations. Let us be encouraged and strengthened by our heritage, the values, principles, and religious freedom on which our nation is built. There is much to remind us of our capacity to achieve excellence. We need to activate the fervor and the passion which have fueled our achievements and remain motivated by the sacrifices of our ancestors whose dream was for this little rock to become one of the greatest nations on earth. We must believe that no matter how impossible the dream may appear, we can achieve it. May our Eternal Father grant us the wisdom, courage, patience, and grace to join hands and hearts all across our country to be proud and free. Jamaica 53.
It's time now for a little history of the National Stadium. Now, in 1959, Jamaica won the bid to host the Central American and Caribbean Games, and this was to be held here in 1962. Now, the facilities we had at the time were inadequate, so the great Sir Herbert Macdonald lobbied both Premier Norman Manley and opposition leader Sir Alexander Bustamante to build a new stadium, and they agreed. After looking at several sites, this one was agreed on. 80 acres at £3,750 per acre. Can you believe that? Totaling £300,000. It is reported that the government paid down £100,000 to seal the deal. And guess what? The British government treated the balance as an independence gift to Jamaica. Ground broke on January 6, 1961, and the stadium was ready for the games in 1962, accommodating 35,000 seats, a 400-meter track, a 500-meter cycle track, a football pitch, a media center, and 11 private suites. Now, this 1962 legacy is home to our annual Independence Day celebrations. And come later, here we'll be buzzing with all that excitement. Please go out and enjoy. Up next, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller reflects on the country's journey before and after independence.
My fellow Jamaicans, the detachment of Jamaica from the British colonial scaffold 53 years ago and our emergence as an independent nation state was as seminal a moment as it was sensational. We chose to take the reins of our destiny firmly in our hands and pledged to forge a just and progressive nation from the rejected colonialism. We rose up in celebration of our right to sovereignty because we long desired to live within a democratic state that was respectful of the rights of citizenship. This was the historic mission of our forebears. This was the dream of those whose lives were destroyed in the quest for freedom with citizenship. Our detractors did not believe that we could succeed. They said we were in pursuit of the impossible. We set out to build a resilient sustainable nation from our divisive and fragmented past. We have proven them wrong. Out of many, one people, we have achieved nationhood, one people out of many. Brothers and sisters, independence is a time to reflect on our journey as a nation, a time to embrace the opportunity to chart our destiny as a people. It is a time to continue to embrace peace, progress, and prosperity for all Jamaicans. It is a time when we celebrate the solid achievements of the past decades. It is a time when we challenge every Jamaican to contribute in some way to the national good by re-energizing the Jamaican spirit of resilience, hard work, passion, genuine love for each other, and our unflinching faith for a better and brighter tomorrow. In this regard, our country is making considerable progress, and everywhere, at home and abroad, the truth is being spoken that Jamaica is moving up and on. The sacrifice of our people is recognized and respected. Much respect is due to every citizen who, in the interest of our country, has heeded the call for greater social discipline, industry, innovation, cultural creativity, and economic self-reliance. We are looking to the future. We are doing what is necessary to protect and preserve, uplift and elevate those things we know to be the best of Jamaica. I celebrate the enterprising and entrepreneurial spirit of our citizens, from the small commercial operators to the large investors who have all maintained their confidence in our ability to skillfully manage the affairs of this nation despite the difficulties identified. Fellow Jamaicans, allow me to say on this historic day, Jamaica is our home. We belong to her, and she belongs to us. One of Jamaica's founding fathers, the Right Excellent Norman Washington Manley, believed that once we felt a sense of ownership in our nation, we would play our part in ensuring that our nation develops. He said, "There's a tremendous difference between living in a place and belonging to it, and feeling that your own life and destiny is bound up in the life and destiny of that place. Let each of us play our part in writing a new uplifting history of hope, courage, and prosperity for our people, and proclaim our independence theme, Proud and Free, Jamaica 53. My fellow Jamaicans, we are at a pivotal position in our history as a sovereign nation. As one of our national heroes, the Right Excellent Sir Alexander Bustamante said, independence means the opportunity for us to frame our own destiny and the need to rely on ourselves. Fellow Jamaicans, in an environment of freedom for the past 53 years, Jamaica has produced a wealth of human capital that continues to be our greatest national asset for economic growth. It is our people, supported by a system of quality education and world-class training, that will provide the next great leap forward for our nation. This advance must of necessity be fueled by innovation and the remarkable culture and creativity for which Jamaica and its people are renowned. We know that for some members of the Jamaican family, things are difficult. My government is aware of the challenges and is working diligently to improve the quality of life for all. My fellow Jamaicans, despite the challenges, we will succeed because we are the children of men and women who have historically overcome adversity. We have outstanding athletes who are world beaters, Their electrifying performances across the globe serve to inspire and unite us as a people. Their success on the track, the field, or on the court did not happen overnight. It is the result of days, weeks, months, and years of hard work, discipline, blood, sweat and tears, and a fixity of purpose. Like our athletes, like our reggae boys and girls, our Special Olympians, our bobsleigh team, our scholars, scientists, and Jamaicans of all other disciplines who, despite the daunting odds, have climbed the mountain to victory. Let us also, as a people, be steadfast on our journey to building a stronger nation and society with the Almighty God as our guide. I call on every Jamaican to be the very best that you can be as a mother, father, a professional or business owner, an artist or public servant, and a neighbor. Be the best that you can be. Fulfill your greatest potential. Never forget to lend a helping hand to your brothers and sisters. Let us build our communities and participate in the governance of our country. This is how we continue to build our nation. This is how we bring real meaning to independence. Our commitment is to social justice, security, and prosperity for all. We are in pursuit of economic equity and are unwavering in our commitment to the values and principles of democracy. We have to recommit ourselves in every way possible to engaging better social relations to produce peace, harmony, and tolerance in our families, our communities, and in our nation. We will also continue to make the kinds of contributions that have set us apart on the global stage as a leader and supporter of progressive and positive change. Let us continue to demonstrate in our daily affairs the importance of self-reliance and the discipline of self-determination. I wish for all Jamaicans at home and in the diaspora a happy and rewarding Independence Day and God's continued blessing and guidance. Happy Independence, proud and free Jamaica 53. Thank you.
Everybody come feel up where them woman don't bring. Everybody come feel up where them woman don't bring. Oh Lord, what a night, what a night, what a Saturday night. Lord, what a night, what a night, what a Saturday night. What a Saturday night.
We are still at Independence Park, Jamaica's sports and cultural complex, and behind me is the National Arena, known for hosting festival song competitions and trade exhibitions. Opened in 1963, it was built to host the weightlifting and wrestling events of the 1966 British Empire and Commonwealth Games. So a lot of new infrastructure was being installed during the immediate post-independence period. And if I may add, the stadium pool was built around the same period to host the 1962 Central American and Caribbean Games, and later modified for the 1966 British Empire and Commonwealth Games. So much history being told from this location. We pause now to hear from the Leader of the Opposition, Andrew Holness.
An independent nation exercises sovereignty over its own affairs, making its own decisions, enforcing its own laws and governance over its people and territory. But the people, importantly, have a say in what the government does. Independence means the freedom to make decisions, but it also means that we bear the consequences of our decisions, good or bad. An important part of celebrating our independence is reflecting on the national decisions we have made and the consequences of those decisions. As I've always said, we have accomplished much in 53 years as an independent state, but there is a shared view that we should have achieved so much more. As we celebrate and reflect on the day of our political independence, we must not use these festivities as a distraction from our realities, nor should we reflect only to engage in blame. This is a time for learning from our history and recommitting as a nation to quickening the pace of our development and growth while avoiding the pitfalls of the past. A high national debt and periods of low fluctuating growth are persistent characterizations of our independence. Jamaica experienced growth of 2% or more in only 17 of 53 years of independence. And 10 of those years were between 1962 and 1972, when growth exceeded 2% per annum, with a high of 8.6% in 1964. What is even more troubling is that for 18 of our 53 years as an independent nation, there was close to zero growth, or the economy actually got smaller. The stock of national debt now stands at over 2 trillion Jamaican dollars. For 30 of our 53 years of independence, the debt to GDP ratio has been over 100%. This means that Jamaica, for most of its independent history, has been borrowing and owes much more than it produces. It cannot be overlooked that Jamaicans today are more indebted than they have ever been as a people. Having struggled our way out of slavery with no endowment of assets, today every Jamaican now owes on average $752,000, more than most of us earn in a year. As a people, in the exercise of our democratic right and independence, we have traditionally held our governments to account and demanded performance from them to provide roads, education, security, health, and other critical social services. And governments have responded, in part, by borrowing to provide these things in the absence of a growing economy generating its own revenues. However, in recent times, much of our public debt has come about because the central government has taken on the debt of FinSAC and several other loss-making public sector entities. This represents the inefficiency of government operations and government's poor handling of its regulatory function over the economy. This situation is untenable. Borrowing to pay down debt is not the solution. Borrowing to fund government programs, as we now see, is not a tenable solution. And we cannot keep borrowing to pay for the losses and inefficient operations of our government. What is a lesson that each Jamaican should take away from our reflections on independence and apply to our current situation? The answer is simple. We must hold our government to account for growth and efficiency. Growth is the only sustainable solution to our problems. President Obama, during his visit to Jamaica, said it best. As it turns out, the best way for a country to reduce its debt is to grow really fast and generate more income. So while we must continue to be vigilant in our democracy by demanding better performance of the government on infrastructure and social services, we must also add to this an increased vigilance on the government for growth in the economy, as this is the only sustainable way of securing development. In the absence of growth, the government will require from you more sacrifices, more taxes, more fees, and frozen wages. Growth is not a mystery. It is not something beyond the control of the government. We have to put pressure on the government to focus on growing the economy. Let that be our commitment this independence. We can only be truly independent when we have a robust economy, when we can pay back what we owe without borrowing to do so, when we can provide for our needs from what we produce, and when we can leave a legacy of assets to our children instead of a millstone mortgage on their future and possibilities. This independence, let us commit to growing Jamaica. This is the only way we can move Jamaica from poverty to prosperity.
Thanks for tuning in to this special edition of Jamaica Magazine. And as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. So until tomorrow, when we'll do it all over again, please stay connected to our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production crew here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Let us stop for a minute.